I just really quick wanted to show you what the masks look like once they're complete. And on the inside of mine I have the dinosaurs, and I am an amateur sewer, so I can't really sew a straight line. I don't know if you can see that, but so I just sewed these together for me and my husband and my daughter. My daughter's mask is going to be solid black, and on the inside she's got some space. And then my husband also wanted solid black, but we are going to add this to the front. I cut this out on my Cricut, and it's just a little skull face part, so I need to finish that up and get that added on there for him, but I'm going to add that onto the front for him. So you can see I used the elastic for these. The one for my daughter, I used this like hair tie string almost. I think this is for jewelry. And we had to put extra little knot in there because it was too loose on her face. So yeah, again, can't really sew a straight line, but they're together. They're not going to fall apart. They're pretty solid. So this is just how I did mine. Alright, so the first thing I started doing was gathering some of the supplies. So I have my elastic. This I pulled out of something a while ago. I don't remember what, but I just had it in a container. I just found it, so I'll use that. I think I have to use this thin stuff for one of the masks. For fabrics, we've got this blue shiny fabric, which is thickly knit, and this dinosaur fabric. We're also going to have space fabric. I'm going to use that on the inside of my daughter's mask. And my husband and my daughter both wanted black, so they're going to have just solid black for their mask. And then I need to choose some matching thread over here. Try to do this one-handed. There we go. So of course, for those I will use black. And for mine, I think I might use this blue. Or maybe white. Yeah, I might just go with white because I already have my bobbins loaded in this little container. Yeah, I already have white and a black, so that'll just make it easier instead of having to load this blue. I love this thing though. I found this at Hancock Fabrics a long time ago, and as you can see I don't sew very much because it's mostly all full. These I still have them, they're just in some other location. It was not $49.99. I think I maybe paid $10 or $20 for this, and I love this set. Lots of colors to choose from, so that's really cool. And it's coats too. So I find it's a lot easier to start with a pattern, and I got this one from Craft Passion. I'll leave the link to her channel and her blog down below. She's got tons of different pattern options, and she's got really awesome tutorials on how to complete each of those particular masks. So I'm just using this one here. It already has seam allowance included in the pattern, and I'm just cutting it out. So I'm going to be using this blue shiny fabric for my mask. So the first thing I'm going to do is line up the template here. I am using pins. It's probably better if you have the clips that you go ahead and use those so that you're not adding any extra holes to your mask. That's probably the best way to do it, but I'm just getting this all pinned on. A couple pins to hold the pattern in place. I've got my fabric double lined up so that way I can cut the two pieces at once. And that's just going to save me a little bit of time. And I'm cutting that off. And I apologize for the lighting here, but basically what I'm doing is just cutting close to that paper and cutting out both pieces of fabric at the same time. And just going around the whole thing to cut it out. So here we have my awesome dinosaur fabric for the inside of my face mask. And so you need to cut out 2 pieces for the outside and 2 pieces for the inside. Once you get it all cut out, I'm just taking out my pins here and removing the pattern. You can see the awesome dinosaur face going to be on one side and then some other dinosaurs on the other side. So once you have it cut out, you need to take the 2 pieces and flip them right side together. And then once you have them right sides together, you're going to just line them up perfectly, and then you're going to, okay, almost perfect. You're going to add some pins to keep them together for when you're sewing. So you don't need to pin the whole thing because you're just going to be sewing this one side. So you just need to pin on that curve that's going to go in the front so that you can sew that curve. Okay, so I've sped this up quite a bit because I'm a pretty slow sewer, but what I'm doing here is just sewing that front curve on the lining pieces and the front facing pieces. So this is that dinosaur fabric, and I'm just sewing again that front curve. So here I'm cutting out the excess seam spacing that's in there and just cutting little slits into there. That'll help when you're turning it and help it lay more flat in your face and be less bulky. So you're going to flip that so the outside is facing out. The next thing you're going to be doing is lining up the 2 right facing sides of the fabric together. And you want to line up those center seams first and kind of pin those in place. And then you're going to insert the elastic into there and pin that in place as well. And you can see that I've got it pinned all the way around the outside edge. And here is just me sewing the outside edge of that mask. And thanks to the magic of technology, just like that, all of my sewing is done. You can see the whole thing is sewn up except for a small, maybe about a 2-inch space there. That's going to allow me to turn the mask inside out and then do a final stitch sew. Somewhere in here is the point where people would normally iron this thing flat so it lays better, but I typically skip the iron step in sewing. Call me lazy, call me ingenuitive, whatever you may. It worked the same. Okay, maybe not exactly the same, but close enough. The last step here is just to top stitch all the way around the outside of the mask, and make sure to tuck in the little space open that you left open for the seam allowance and sew that closed shut as well, and then you're done.